Just a few minutes to the top of the hour. That's 8 o'clock, about 17 minutes to the top of the hour. Good morning if you've just joined us. Understandably, it's Easter Monday, so you're kind of lazy out of bed for a public holiday like this. And a long one that started all the way from Friday, you are going to struggle to get out of bed tomorrow. That's a guarantee, but you'll make it eventually. Anyway, for our Kickstarter conversation today, we are going to be talking politics, Bobi Wine, concerts. Today, when we are going through our press review, we did read you these stories, very interesting stories. One, police block Bobi Wine Easter concert. That's one story that we found on page 3. The other story is on page 5, where President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni asks musicians, tells separate music from politics. He's telling Ugandan artists. This was yesterday, as of course he was handing out a 2 billion compensation to the music promoters over the cancelled concerts. And of course we have had that discussion here with the crew. But before we get deep into the conversation, there's a story that ran on NTV News last night. We're going to get into that, and then after that we'll introduce our guest, and then we're going to get into that story. Musicians should stay away from politics. Should they or should they not? We'll get into that, but first let's take a look at this story.
We as police will not risk securing their planned music concerts due to their failure to adhere to the stricter safety guidelines and site infrastructure concerns at the selected venues. We want to inform the public that the previous Chiringa concerts had poor track records that were characterized with multiple incidents related to public nuisance, hooliganism due to overcrowding, complaints of thefts, violation of traffic rules, and various misconducts, which were not only a breach of law but also a danger to the revelers and the lives of other members of the community.
The Uganda police has been trying to frustrate my concerts by not responding to me in time, as they are mandated to do, by discouraging people, arresting my workmates, and again, last night, as I've informed you, they arrested our team that was taking the sound there. However, they're not coming out plainly to confirm that, because they know that is wrong, that is illegal.
Being responsible citizens, we urged the promoters to take police advice and the safety of revelers seriously by either suspending or stopping their concerts until such a time that robust public security and safety mechanisms are put in place.
These are conditions that we've always been fulfilling since this is our job for a long time. We again fulfilled them, resubmitted to the police, although Fundamental was not there, his office received it. So our show is happening tomorrow.
Well, there we go. He insists his show is happening. He said tomorrow. Yesterday, today is D-Day. The police say it's not going to happen. He, the man himself, says the show is going to happen. Is it going to happen by force? What does this mean? With us, we have Dr. Kakungulu Mayambala, a political analyst for Kickstarter Conversation today. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
It's Easter Monday, so I know most the kids are going to wake up looking for you. Where is Daddy on a public holiday? But thank you very much for taking that time to come and join us today. We have 1,000 questions. If I start, I don't think Mala will get an opportunity to ask anything. So let me let her start.
Okay.
All right, Doctor, thank you so much for making time.
You're welcome.
We've been seeing this turn of events. Honorable Chagulanyi is saying this is not the first time. I mean, since 2017, he says it's been 124 concerts blocked by police. When we read the statement by police, of course, that they wrote to the organizers, the police said that, you know what, we are cancelling this concert on grounds that your previous concerts never measured up to our requirements. Do you think this is lawful?
Yeah, well, it's still between the law and politics, because the law has given some guidelines, the Public Order Management Act. Now there is also the Stage Plays and Public Entertainment Act, and the proposed regulation is which try to give guidelines on what may be done by somebody who wants to stage such shows and plays. But even when somebody fulfills the requirements, of course, police can come up with one issue after issue and then thereby blocking such a person. And what has been happening is that for those who are not singing mainly music with a political message, their shows have been allowed. For example, those who are singing for the NRM, the pro-NRM artists, and of course those who are singing gospel music or purely non-political music, their music has been allowed and shows to go on. But those who are kind of using, I say, music to promote their political capital, especially on the side of the opposition, their shows have been blocked.
Why is that? Has it been stipulated in the Constitution or in the books of law?
No, it is not in the Constitution as such, because the Constitution gives liberty to all people to bring about their ideas. But the issue is that, of course, you have the police, which is mainly leaning towards the ruling party, and so they try much of the time to frustrate those who are on the opposition. And it's not only Bobi Wine who is suffering. What we call it shrinking political space, because even Dr. Kiza yesterday, you have been seeing him going around. He's not allowed to move. He has been forcefully removed from the radio shows and the like. So it is just part of the entire spectrum. Yes.
It happens all around the world, especially with someone that is in power. It's quite understandable. That's what I was saying. I was telling you guys this morning that for political reasons, I do understand why all these shows have been blocked. Do you think that Bobi Wine has brought this onto himself? Because for some reason he has now taken a stance to be, his music is more political. His shows have turned into more political rallies than musical shows. So do you think he has brought it onto himself? Because now he's giving police reason to stop him from having all those shows. Let's be honest, we saw him when he went for the show that was in Rubiri for Kalakash. It suddenly turned political. We show, you remember that show that was in his place in Busabala.
Yeah.
We all saw what happened. It suddenly turned political. So police do really have a reason to block his concerts. But has he brought it to himself? Because at the end of the day, there's a financial implication to him, because he has been holding these shows for money. Now he's having them for different reasons, we would suggest. Do you think he has brought it to himself?
I wouldn't say he has brought it to himself. What I would say is that these are differences, because we have, for example, the Bebe Cool. They are singing for the NRM party in the Tubonge and the other music. Now we have those who are singing also like anti-establishment music. Now, for them, they are not allowed to sing, like which I've called the shrinking political space. So, for him, he's even lucky he has a place where he can go, and he has his beach. If he didn't have his beach, then he would never even be allowed to get the permission at any of the public places to stage this kind of show. But even where he has his beach, the police will come in and bring in security issues, and still he can't show. So, I would say if he changed his music and started singing music which is not critical of the establishment, his shows would be authorized. But as long as he continues on that path, he's going to suffer what all the politicians in the opposition have to go through. They will not be allowed on the shows. Whether all political space will be blocked for them.
But you see, when you say that they will be blocked, we all know it's not rightfully done. Everyone has freedom of speech in this country. We all have a right to express our views. Is this what should be happening? No. But it is happening. So how do we go forth with this? Do we keep having this battle between we will do this and you are not allowed to do this? Or is this what happens?
Yes, in the context of Uganda, if you want to be in the opposition, you have to see how to survive in the opposition, because it's not
it's a battle for survival.
It's a battle for survival. So he has to see. I think what he's trying to do, of course, he can get some money from the shows, but if he's a politician and he wants to continue as such, his main aim is to pass over his message to the voters. So he can do that on the floor of parliament, he can do that in the constituents, or he can go in running battles with the police, as Dr. Kizabe.
When you say running battle, I sometimes get a feel that he is intentionally doing this to get press, to get, because we all know the politics in this country. We have all seen Dr. Kizabe, with all respect, being asked by police to use another route, and he claims, I want to use that route because he knows that's where the people are. In all instances, we all know Bobi Wine knows where his people are. We all know he knows that they are going to block my concert. So is he also using this as a way to get our attention?
Yeah, he gets the publicity either way. If his show goes on, he will sing the music as you have seen on the few shows which have been allowed, and so the media will capture that. Even when his show is blocked, still the media has covered him. So either way, he has nothing to lose. If the show goes on, his message reaches to the people. Even where it is blocked, the newspapers will cover it, and then he can address a press conference telling his supporters that the show has been blocked, and maybe we do.
He's already had two so far.
Yes.
Dr. Kakungulu Mayambala, you are a law don.
Yes.
Let's talk about the rule of law and the respect of it thereof. Have we failed as a country? Because, it's the same rule of law that says if you're to do one thing and you are compliant to the laws of the land, then you are permitted. As a citizen, it is your right to do certain things, provided you're compliant to the rule of law and the law of the land. What is this? Can we say that today, if Bobi Wine stands and says that he wants to contest this blockage in the courts of law, he has some ground to stand?
Yeah, well, he can contest there are two things here. One, there is him accessing the public. Then there is him having his rights violated, or the rights of those people who want to attend his shows. And there are different players in all this. Now, when you talk about access to the public, or him taking his message to the public, remember there is also the issue of scaring others, because it's not the only one who is having this kind of music. There are people like Ronald Mayinja and others who sing for the opposition, so they're also watching. If his shows are going on, they can also come up. So what happens is that the political wing of the NRM party and the police, for them, they will handle it from a security matter. Then if he goes to court, the Attorney General and the NRM lawyers will take it from there. So that's how they do it usually.
You said something very important, and you said that the police is inclined to the ruling party.
Yes.
Should this be the case? Isn't the police supposed to be non-partisan? What happened to that?
Well, according to the Constitution and the Police Act, the police is meant to protect all people, but of course there is what we call regime policing, where the police is taken over by the regime, and then they, instead of doing the general work, they will do regime policing. Like, even you will see that if, for example, Bobi Wine now, if you look at the deployment which has been put there, and then maybe somebody calls police that there is somebody here who is about to commit a crime, you will see that the response is not the same. So there is regime policing, and of course this is aimed at having regime survival. So that's what much of what the police is doing.
Let's move away from that now. There's a story in the Daily Monitor today, page 5, separate music from politics. Museveni tells Ugandan artists. And this was when he was giving out the 2 billion Ugandan shillings as compensation for losses that promoters suffered. And from this, I'll probably just ask 2 questions. I have too many, but I'll just ask 2. One question: can you separate, because he has asked church leaders, he has asked musicians. I think next he's going to ask us, the journalists, to stay away from politics as well, or even you political analysts, to analyze something else but politics. Can you separate politics from these things that the president is asking us to, separate or put politics away from, especially the two people that he has asked so far? That is very clear. That is musicians and church leaders. Is it possible?
No, it is not possible, because politics, impacts on the life of everyone. So it is very difficult for people to stay away from it, because whether you are talking about land, you are talking about the economy, it's all linked to politics. But in the music industry, it is possible for a musician to sing music which is not political, and so survive, and some of them are doing so. But again, the issue is that there are those who are using music, artistic expression, to promote human rights, to address grievances of the people. They're using music as an expression. So again, those ones are likely to be suffocated. That's the issue. Otherwise, it's possible to stay away, but then you will not be able to talk about, because we have had songs where musicians are talking about inflation, they are talking about human rights abuses, they are talking about many social issues, and so those ones will most likely be blocked. But then we have also these musicians who just sing about love songs. Now, if you are singing about love, then you are not going to come into conflict with the government, because then
there is no interest
there.
The second question,
gospel
question I had, 2 billion Ghana shillings compensation for these losses, and I'm a little bit hurt by the statement that the president releases in the papers today, saying that I am not going to compensate anyone in the near future. So the first thing I get in my mind is when the president says I am not, is this money from his pockets? I don't think it is. It must be taxpayers' money. But I am pretty sure it is not upon him to decide who gets compensated.
Yes.
So how does this go forth? Because yes, he has just given this 2 billion Ghana shillings, and there is a concert that is meant to happen today that has already been blocked, and I'm pretty sure Bobi Wine is going to sue. I'm pretty sure he's going to be seeking compensation because he has invested a lot of money. How does that happen? The president says we're not going to compensate. I am not going to compensate. Now we already have a man who is ready to ask for compensation in a few hours. How does this go about?
Well, I think his statement is being very honest and truthful, because under the law, the president is the minister for finance. Okay. And the money which you are talking about for compensation is going to come from the treasury. So you can block it from there, and so you can go to the court and you win the award, but you languish with the award for years and years. Of course, it will be accumulating interest, but then you are not paid. So you end up with... So if he tells you he's not going to compensate after making this big compensation, then you have to be careful. The compensation may not
there's a chance. There's a chance that the courts of law could decide that you get compensated.
Yes. And many people have many compensations.
So when does this compensation then happens? After the change of government?
Yeah, they will say, they will tell you with interest, and they calculate the interest.
Of course, it will be a push and pull.
Yeah.
So softly, as we analyze the president's statement, him saying that this is the last time he's compensating.
Yes.
Ideally, he's saying that don't even have the idea of ever organizing such a concert
as long as he's still around. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What happens then to what protects us, and that's the law, so to speak?
Well,
if he has the powers of saying you have no powers organizing a concert indefinitely.
You know, the issue of compensation is a big issue. There are these ones who have been even in land. There are people whose land has been taken by government and they are waiting for compensation. Yeah. So they also have sympathy from the public. Then for you, your show has been cancelled. When you arranged it well, knowing that it could even be what? cancelled. So there are many people who are waiting for compensation, not only this one. So if he's honest enough to tell them that they may not be getting compensation in the near future, as long as he's still around, then it may be the case.
You know, the story of Bobi Wine, since he came into power, so to speak, I'm talking about him being member of parliament, many have said that he came in with the sole intention of rattling the government, the ruling party, so to speak. But don't you think that NRM is engaging in a self-defeating, you know, sort of strategy to fight him back? Because with them trying to, at the much they fight him, the more publicity and strength and clout he's garnering with the public, and not just here in Uganda, but internationally. So as a political analyst and also someone who has monitored the political space for quite a long time, not just here in the country but across, what would be the ideal strategy for the government?
There are three strategies which they can do. The first one, but of course each strategy has different outcomes. They can allow him to move freely and cut across his message, but then you may never know the outcome of that. He may become too popular to be contained. The other situation is what they are trying to do. I mean, what they are trying to do, which is the extreme, block him completely, such that he cannot access. He can only access during the campaign. I mean, when the elections have been, when the campaigns are on. Or the other is let him have, if he has some 3 shows arranged, allow 1, block 2. That also can work. But each of these, in terms of the situation on the ground, has different impacts, because you are not going to be to feel like being nice to the international community, and then you are going to lose power. Yes, you allow somebody to go across the country, then the political terrain changes, because the only person who is allowed to campaign for all the 5 years is President Museveni. All the time is campaigning, but his opponents are only allowed to campaign when they've been nominated after nomination. So that's the challenge. No, it's not lawful, but that's the situation.
Meaning that some people are above the law.
Yeah, but he's a sitting president, so he enjoys those privileges.
Right.
Like I told you, Dr. Kakungulu, I have 1,000 questions, and I'm probably not going to ask all the questions. You might not enjoy your Easter Monday as you planned. So I'll as we wrap this up. As a political analyst, you see the situation that we're under. Public Order Management Act has taken its toll on especially events organized, especially if you're from the opposition. The police have come out to clearly say that they're doing their job.
Yeah.
And there's been a question of should they be asking for permission, or should they be informing the police? And I was listening to Mr. Benyanga, and he said it's very clear, we don't want people to seek permission. We want them to inform us.
Yes.
So that we can allow them to go ahead, so that we can provide the protection that the civilians need, because the police is not here to protect Bobi Wine as an individual. It's here to protect us. But they're using that same front to protect us from something that we want, because I'm speaking on behalf of the people that want to go for this concert. So what is the goal? What is this? Is this just confusing us? Is this just politics at play?
Yeah, I think...
who is fooling who?
I think what's important is that there are many laws which are intended to suppress freedom of expression. I can just list a few of them. We have the Public Order Management Act. That's the one which is widely talked about. But even our people who are using social media, we have the Computer Misuse Act.
Correct.
Writing Section 25, writing so many things which are critical of government can tantamount to cyber harassment or offensive communication. So you can decide to just go on your WhatsApp or Facebook
and write something that could be
within the safety of your room. Then for entertainment, there is a law already. It has been there, but it wasn't being talked about, the Stage Plays and Public Entertainment Act. which requires musicians to have permission from the Ministry of Culture to stage their shows and even to register. Now government is reviving it. It's a 1943 act, but they are reviving it and they are bringing regulations which will compel these people to register. And many other laws, even the Penal Code Act, incitement of violence and many offenses. So you have to work within the legal framework. So if the police wants, they can allow you to go on, but again, even when you write, they can say you have not fulfilled the requirements or do this and this, and then of course if you have communicated the date like Easter Monday, they can deliberately delay to get back to you. Then they get back to you on the eve of the activity and say, you know, you have not fulfilled these requirements, and then the time left is not enough for you to fulfill them. And of course there is only one Easter Monday, so you're not going to
you're not going to push to Easter Tuesday.
You're not going to push to Easter Tuesday.
So we have a set of opposition member of parliaments who are calling for the amendments of the same, the former 2013. What's your view on this as an expert in that area?
Well, first of all, you have to remember that it's the same parliament that agreed and pushed this act to be signed by the president. After agreeing and feeling that all the details in there were for public interest. They're the same people going to review it now.
Yeah, and of course the opposition, they don't have the numbers to cause this amendment, because certainly for any law to go through, you require the numbers. So if you don't have the numbers, unless maybe they are planning that in the next parliament they will have the numbers, but as of the current one, if the NRM caucus meets under their chairperson and then they discuss and say block this amendment, then certainly the opposition cannot win numerically.
So literally there's no light at the end of the tunnel?
No, there is no light. All that they are doing is to kind of increase public awareness about the unfairness of this land, create a bit of pressure.
All right. Wow. Police is already deployed in Busabanda, according to the reports that you're getting. And Bobi Wine yesterday categorically said that he's still going to push through with this particular concert. What does he stand to lose with regards to the same, keeping in mind that he's still faced with the charges of August of the Arua 33?
Well, he of course, everything he has to do, he's a politician, so he has to do something. If you're a politician, you see some of your voters, your likely supporters are going to Usabala. You have told them the show is taking place. Therefore, you cannot sit back home. You have also to go there and say, well, I was blocked, to show that you are with them. Otherwise, it has that he has to play along. Of course, the police can always prefer charges against him, but that will be for another day. What he has to do is, how does he handle today? He has to go there with some of his supporters, then they are blocked by the police. Immediately he's arrested. Then he addresses some sort of media press conference, and then so that still the day is covered. Otherwise, if the police deploys and then he doesn't show up, then what happens? But
will it aggravate the charges he's already facing against the state? Of
course it will, but Dr. Kiza at one time has had over 20 cases. That's what it means to be an opposition politician. So he has to.
So in this case, you're literally saying that it's a fight.
Yeah, it's going to be
and it's going to go
because there are many offences he can face. For example, disobeying lawful orders. The police has told him
don't hold
the concert. But like I've said, he cannot sit home as a politician and say, well, they've told me not hold the concert, I'm not coming, because some of his supporters certainly are going to go there. So he must be seen either driving out of his home and is blocked somewhere somehow. So
in the political sense, you have Bobi Wine on this end, who is being frustrated on the music side. You have other opposition leaders in Kizza Besigye and Elias Lukwago and company also being blocked from accessing that. But Kizza Besigye in the past few days or weeks has been at radio stations in some places where they have been shut down, closed. They have had battles to get him out of studios. Your take on that situation? Because for him now he's being blocked on another front. Bobi Wine is being blocked with concerts. The other one is being blocked from radio stations and talking to people and all that.
I think what's important for the viewers to understand is the platform is not what is important. What is important is the message.
What is the message?
So where this message goes, even if you take it to the social media like the Stella Nyanzi, you will still be blocked. Even if you go to the radios, you will still be blocked. Even if you want to sing, you will still be blocked. Even if you take it to the funerals, by the way, still the police will block you from there. They will say you are coming here to make political statements. We don't allow you here. So there is a lot of things which have been done to.
But Dr. Gangulu, I keep insisting, and I'm sorry for bringing this back all the time. I kind of get a feel that this probably it's their job. The people from the opposition, when they go for funerals, it certainly turns political. When they go for concerts, political. Can't they just go to a funeral and attend a funeral just like any other funeral is attended? Yes,
the reason why they do that is they've been prevented from having formal gatherings. If there could be a time when they say we are meeting at the Kolo grounds or this Chadondo, please come, Dr. Kizabesi is going to address you, or Bobi Wine, then that will be okay. But that's not allowed. The police will not allow it. So where you get an opportunity, whether it's a wedding or introduction or funeral, that's when you get a chance to smuggle in your message.
Doctor, as you wrap this up, my last question to you, of course, with analyzing the current political climate in the country and the constitution that stands, and us borrowing from the age limit ruling last week on Thursday, many were saying that the ruling was actually in violation of the basic structure doctrine of the constitution. Of course, we say that, it's not yet a settled principle of law, but do you feel like there's need of a complete overhaul of the constitution? Speaking of referendum, do we need that as Ugandans?
Yes, we may need that, but because what has been happening is we have been having what we call amendments by infection. So the Constitution, when it was made in 1995, it was made, of course, they knew that it could be amended, but it was made with a certain sort of parameters to be observed. I will give you an example. One of them, for example, is in 2005, they removed the term limit.
Right.
And the Constitution had provided, or it still provides, that the sitting president enjoys the privileges, and so it was hoped that there would be only one time when a sitting president would be campaigning, so that the ground is leveled. But now you have a sitting president campaigning all through, so putting this other, because he has to use all the state resources at that time, the convoy and the like. So that's one such thing. So all these need to be, I think, addressed. But of course, now where is the will? The will is not there for this comprehensive, because they may not favor the ruling party.
All right, thank you so much.
Wow.
Interesting conversation. Of course,
we
still wait to see what Bobi Wine says.
Till evening.
We still wait to see what Bobi Wine does. He says that he's going to address the press today as well. He's still going to push through with the concert. There's already deployment. So let's see what this day holds for him. Pretty much. Thank you so much for coming in studios. Dr. Kakumbungulu Mayambala, he is a political analyst right here in the country. So that's it. But your views are honored and we look at them. So the hashtag is Morning at 10 TV. And just in case you're stepping out or for one reason or the other you can't watch your television set, you can stream us live. We are on Facebook and YouTube live just for you. We're taking a short commercial break. Morning at 10 TV still continues.